So what we have today is an egg. Ta-da! And I'm not sure if everybody knows how to separate the yolk from a white. So you want to crack your egg on something solid and then open it up, and you can just slowly tilt it and let the white run out. You can pass it back and forth between them, between the shells, and naturally just the white kind of slides off in one big bloop. It would be good if you don't break the yolk, but if it breaks, that's okay. We'll make it work. Some people also will take it and put it in their, crack the egg into their hand and let the white fall through their fingers, and then they'll just end up with the yolk in the palm of their hand. So you can do that too. Once you've done that, I'm just going to pour the yolk into my hand. Ta-da! You can either pinch it with your fingers or a pair of scissors, or poke it with a toothpick, because what you want to do is squeeze the contents out of the egg sac. And you probably don't need all of it. You can just gently let it drip out, and you'll be left with the sac, and I'm just going to put that over there. And then I'm up on my 3rd floor loft, so I brought up a bowl that has a wet cloth in it to wipe my fingers. So go ahead and do that step. I'll give you a minute or two, and then we'll move on to the next step. Any questions? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome. Is that Alex?
Yeah. Well, my egg yolk is I broke my egg yolk, so.
That's okay. See if you can just sort of scoop out the soft part of the yolk and put it in a little container.
Yep, let me try.
I wish I could see you all doing it, but I know it's complicated to do something and videotape it at the same time. So I'm going to keep going. The next step is to add a little bit of water, and I don't know exactly how much. So I just put in about a teaspoon, a little spoonful, and I'm going to whisk it. You can do this with a regular spoon or a fork. A fork makes a really good whisk. And you want it to be sort of a light yellow. So I'm going to add a little more water. You want it kind of runny. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll put a teeny bit more water. I don't know. There we go. Everybody whisking?
Yeah.
So the next step is to take your little piece of pastel and crush it. And I'm using a measuring cup because it's a flat bottom. A lot of my jars and cups and things like that have a little raised curve on the bottom. So I thought this would be good. And I'm just gonna smush it. You could break yours in half if you want. I don't think you're gonna need a huge piece, but you wanna grind it into a fine powder. Once you've got your powder, I wouldn't allow it to get airborne. I would be very careful to either scoop it or pour it into your egg yolk because you don't want to get it in your lungs. The finer you grind it, the smoother your paint's going to be. Well, we might need all of the powder. I've got sort of a dull blue-green. Stir it up. I'm really hoping my power doesn't go out halfway through this. Ooh, that's a really neat color. Now I need something to paint on. So I have some watercolor paper, you know, any heavy paper or medium heavy paper will do. And I'm going to do an experiment here and see if it makes a difference if I do it on wet paper or dry paper. Because original egg tempera was painted on wet plaster, fresco. So I'm curious to see if it works better on a slightly damp paper. I'm going to let that soak into the paper a little bit. Nice. This is the dry side that I'm working on right now. And there's the wet.
Cecilia, do we need hard paper for that?
I think the heavier paper you use, the less it'll wrinkle, but I think you can use, the drawing papers, or if all you have is copier paper, that kind of thing, that's fine too.
Okay.
So my pigment settled to the bottom. So stir it, make sure you're stirring it really well before you load your brush. I like this. I didn't bring a tray up with me, but I can use my measuring cup. I'm going to try thinning it with a little bit more water to see if I can get a wash. Yeah, look at that. Just add a little water if you want to lighten your color up. Nice.